In the small village of Kamarpukur in the Hooghly district of Bengal, there lived a couple named Khudiram Chattopadhyay and Chandra Devi. Upon his return to his village, he found out that his wife had conceived. It was on February 18, 1836, a son was born to him, whom he named Ramakrishna. Growing up in an orthodox Brahmin family, Ramakrishna's father instilled a specific picture of the society in his mind. A society where the upper class, who were the Brahmins, were supreme, and the lower class, who were the Shudras, were untouchables. He grew up on his father's lap, learning the name of his ancestors and the hymns of gods and goddesses. But his greatest delight was to listen to the stories of the Hindu epics. Ramakrishna was 7 years old when his father died, and this incident left a huge impact on him. For the first time in life, he realized that everything on earth was impermanent. At the age of 16, he went to Calcutta to work with his older brother as a priest and improve the financial conditions of his family. At that time, there lived a rich widow in Calcutta named Rani Resmani, who belonged to the Shudra caste. She was widely known for her business abilities, intelligence, and for her devotion to God. In 1847, Rani Resmani purchased a 20-acre land at Dakshineswar, a village about 4 miles north of Calcutta, where she wholeheartedly spent lavish amounts to establish a temple for her Ishtadevi, which was the Divine Mother Kali. In spite of spending a fortune for the construction of the temple, she found it difficult to hire a priest, as no Brahmin wanted to work in the temple of a Shudra. Ramakrishna's older brother took up the job, but Ramakrishna did not approve of it. The teachings of his father were still fresh in his mind. He even denied eating the temple's food offerings, known as prasad, because as per the orthodox Hindu customs, prasad could be offered to the temple deity only from the house of the Brahmin. But there was something different about this temple. The peaceful atmosphere, the solitude of the surroundings, the sacred Ganges, the respect shown to him by Rani Resmani, and above all, the feeling of the presence of something divine in that place had eventually made him overcome his disapproval. As Ramakrishna's older brother grew ill, he wanted Ramakrishna to take the role of the priest in the Kali temple. He often advised his brother to learn the intricate rules and rituals for worship of Kali. To become a priest of Kali, one must undergo a special form of initiation from a qualified guru. But for Ramakrishna, learning techniques to worship was not acceptable. He worshipped with emotions and thus chose to forego the opportunity to serve Kali. One day, the priest of the Radhakanta temple accidentally dropped the idol of Krishna on the floor, breaking one of its legs. The priests advised Rani Resmani to install a new idol, since the worship of one with a broken limb was against the scriptural instructions. But the Rani was fond of the idol and asked Shri Ramakrishna's opinion on it. He said, "This solution is ridiculous. If a son-in-law of the Rani broke his leg, would she discard him and put another in his place? Wouldn't she rather arrange for his treatment? Why should she not do the same thing in this case too? Let the image be repaired and worshipped as before." It was a simple, straightforward solution and was accepted by Rani Resmani. Shri Ramakrishna himself mended the break. In 1856, Ramakrishna's older brother took his last breath. Rani Resmani's son-in-law, Mathur, begged Ramakrishna to take charge of the worship of Kali temple. While Ramakrishna pleaded that he was incompetent and lacked the scripture knowledge, Mathur insisted that devotion and sincerity would more than compensate for any lack of knowledge. This is how Ramakrishna was introduced to the worship of Kali. Ramakrishna poured his heart and soul into the worship of Kali, while others perceived Kali as destruction. For him, she was the all-loving mother. While she wore a garland of heads on her neck, her waist was covered with human arms, 2 of her hands held weapons of death, and eyes that glazed fire. Strangely, Ramakrishna felt in her presence the soothing touch of tender love. His worship for Kali soon intensified. When he was not at the temple, he would meditate in an abandoned land that was used as a burial ground. He would be lost in his meditation for hours and soon began spending the whole night in the burial ground, meditating on Mother Kali. He would return to his room in the morning with sunken and swollen eyes after all the weeping. As his love for Kali deepened, he began to either forget or drop the formalities of worship. His only desire was to see Ma Kali. He would rub his face on the ground and weep that people started thinking he had gone insane. He would scream in misery, "Are you true, Mother, or is it all a fiction? If you do exist, why do I not see you? Are you a mere fantasy of the religion?" He almost gave up on food and sleep left him altogether. But little did he know that he would not have to wait too long. Once, when he was anxious and restless, he picked up a sword that was kept in Mother Kali's temple to kill himself. Suddenly, the goddess appeared in front of him. In that moment, he could see nothing else in the world, not even his own existence. All his eyes were able to see was the form of Kali. This vision disappeared immediately. Ramakrishna describes that moment to be so short that it lasted for a blink of an eye, yet so limitless and infinite that it would remain with him for eternity. This was only the beginning of all the intense experiences that were yet to come into Ramakrishna's life. The first glimpse of Ma Kali made Ramakrishna very eager to have more uninterrupted visions of Ma Kali. His behavior began to change, and he began seeming abnormal for a human being in his senses. Ramakrishna had turned 23, and worried about his sanity, his mother thought getting him married would divert his senses from the worship of Kali. He was married to a little girl of age 5 named Sharadamani. In a few months, Ramakrishna reluctantly returned to Dakshineswar and engaged in the worship and meditation of Kali. It is said that with his ever-growing devotion for Ma Kali, Shri Ramakrishna had several visions of Kali later in life.